welcome to this episode of the Drink Less, Live Better podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Williamson. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Drink Less, Live Better and head to the website drinklesslivebetter.com where you can sign up for the 5-day Drink Less experiment, download my free habit tracker and join my email club for regular inspiration, ideas and resources to help you live better. Here's something I've been thinking about at the moment: the bright spots and dark corners of life. I've been noticing how I'm constantly moving between the moments of light and moments of shadow recently. The joyful bits, the tough bits, the mediocre bits, the complicated, the difficult, the funny, the insignificant, and everything in between. Sometimes all experienced in one day. If you've been around me for a while, you'll already know that I believe life is rarely binary. Very few things are purely good or bad, right or wrong, success or failure. Instead, most of what we experience sits somewhere in between, a whole palette of technicolor rather than stark black or dazzling white. And yet, our minds love a binary story. It feels simpler, cleaner, and easier to manage. But simple doesn't always mean true, and simple is not often the answer to complex emotions or life experiences. Sometimes the answer is nuanced, and sometimes there is no answer, even when we seek one. Why is life richer when we acknowledge all its shades? How can we recognise both the bright spots and the dark corners to help us live with more compassion, resilience and balance? Let's see. Okay, first, bright spots. These are the moments where everything feels easier, perhaps flowier, for want of a better word. Personally and professionally, things are ticking along, or going well, or feeling fabulous. Connections are warm and the world feels expansive. They might be big moments like celebrating something meaningful, or tiny moments like noticing a really lovely view on a morning walk. These are the times we can breathe deeply and think, yes, this feels good. And I do hope you notice these moments. Have a listen to podcast episode 86, Moments of Bliss, for more on this subject. But bright spots don't tell the whole story, because alongside them, inevitably, there are dark corners. These are the times when things feel heavy or uncertain. Maybe we're sad, angry, overwhelmed, disappointed, tired, or just not quite ourselves. Sometimes the dark corners are obvious, and sometimes they're subtle. Those quiet, nagging feelings we push down or ignore. Neither bright spots nor dark corners define us on their own. They coexist, they inform each other, and they make us human. When we try to live only in the bright spots, only in the positive, we end up suppressing or denying our very real human experiences. And when we get trapped in the dark corners, believing everything is bleak or difficult, we miss the parts that are still functioning, still hopeful, still tender, and still meaningful. This is why the all or nothing binary way of seeing the world can feel so constraining. Our nervous systems and our emotional landscapes aren't built in black and white. They're built to respond, adapt, and evolve based on a complex mix of signals, thoughts, and circumstances. Binary thinking narrows our vision. It literally closes down options around us. When we decide a situation is good, we might overlook things that could be improved or ignore our needs because we don't want to disrupt the positivity. When we decide something is bad, we're more likely to catastrophize, give up early, or assume there's nothing to learn or gain from the situation. Binary thinking can make us feel stuck because it takes away the nuance, the wiggle room, the possibility for transformation. And perhaps most importantly, binary thinking can make us harder on ourselves. If I tell myself I'm good when I do one thing and bad when I do another, well, that's a very exhausting and fragile place to live. It leaves no space for mistakes, growth, or experimentation, and it shuts the door on self-compassion. But the truth is, most of life is not either or, it's both and. You can feel grateful and sad at the same time. You can love someone and feel frustrated with them. You can be making progress and still feel wobbly. You can reduce your drinking and still have days where you struggle. You can be proud of how far you've come and still want things to be different. There's so much freedom in allowing multiple truths to exist at once. And when we acknowledge the full spectrum, the bright spots and the dark corners, we create space for a bit more flexibility, some gentle thinking, and we give ourselves permission to be human. Nice thoughts can be allowed to happen in the curiosity, in the I'm not sure yet, in the maybe it's both, in the I wonder what's underneath this feeling. So I'd love you to consider where you might be applying a binary lens to your life. What becomes possible when you stop insisting something is good or bad and instead let it be true? If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, subscribe, rate and review Drink Less, Live Better wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you'd like more support in learning to trust yourself and live with greater confidence and calm, visit drinklesslivebetter.com. Check out the show notes for a link to a hidden podcast episode that will help you with your 5 p.m. cravings and details about my one-to-one life coaching and sober coaching programs. And P.S. I believe in you.